Hello friends, and welcome back to another tarot pick a card reading. Today's topic is all about the year ahead, and more specifically what you can do to achieve your dreams and overcome any blocks you may have. Today's reading is a collaboration with the wonderful Moon Moth Goddess. Her channel description will be linked in the description box below, as well as the top pinned comment with the timestamps, okay? My topic is all about overcoming blocks and achieving your goals this next year. Moon Moth Goddess is focusing on romance and love. We started talking about doing this collaboration last month, and I am so excited for it to be here. If you are unfamiliar with her channel, she does amazing pick-a-cards, lots of live tarot and oracle readings, and her channel is growing so fast. I am so proud of her. I cannot wait to see what amazing things she puts out in the future. So if you haven't already, after this video, go check out Moon Moth Goddess. But let's get on to today's video. So our collaboration, we are talking about 1 year from now. This is a timeless pick-a-card reading, so no matter when you stumble upon this video, it should hold some relevant information for you. Moon Moth Goddess's topic is all about love, and my topic is advice to help you reach your goals and push past blockages for the next year. So without further ado, let's get started. I do also want to put the disclaimer right here. We had a really terrible storm this past weekend, like upwards of $1 billion worth of damage in my city, and so there's been a lot of construction vehicles, a lot of tow trucks. So I'm sorry if you hear that kind of noise. It's going to be inevitable for me for I don't know how long, but we're safe, we're okay. I may need 2 new vehicles, but that's okay. We'll get over it. We'll survive. We'll do fine. But there may be some background noise. So, your 4 piles. This is pile 1. This is pile 2. This is pile 3. And this is pile 4. If you like to choose with crystals on the cards, we have this lapis lazuli, which I'm going to place on pile 1. We have a snowflake obsidian, which I'm going to place on pile 2. I have an aventurine, which I'm going to place on pile 3. And this is a piece of black tourmaline. So again, this reading is all about your next year, how to overcome your blockages and how to reach your goals. If you want a more love-specific reading, head on over to Moon Moth Goddess's channel after this reading. Hello to all of you who picked pile number 1 with the lapis lazuli. So we have a combination of tarot and oracle cards today. We're going to start with your tarot cards. So your first card is the Fool. Then we have the 3 of Wands, the 6 of Pentacles, and the Chariot. So over the next year, I do see a lot of transitions happening, a lot of changes, especially since we have the Fool and also the Chariot card. These are both cards that speak of action, they speak of movement, and the Fool in particular is new beginnings and going for it. So over this next year, if you do feel like you're having a hard time manifesting your dreams, or if you're having a hard time taking action, this may mean that you need to really focus on willpower. You need to focus on your own personal strength and really be encouraging to yourself. It won't be a time to just sit idly by. It is going to be a time for action, and it's going to be a time that you may need to step out of your comfort zone. You may need to push past what you feel comfortable doing. This could be in terms of social situations. This could also be work related. You know, just going that extra step, pushing yourself just a little bit further to get what you want, okay? With the Three of Wands and the Six of Pentacles, I do feel like these two cards are really indicating a blockage in terms of a social situation. Perhaps it is a friendship or a romantic partnership. It could even be a business partnership. But I feel like you are holding on to something that is preventing you from moving forward. This could be, you know, you don't believe that someone is going to support you moving forward. It could be that you feel judged by this person moving forward, or even just the relationship is out of balance. You feel like you're giving more to this relationship than you are receiving. And this is really holding you back. With the Three of Wands, this is you needing to step into your own empowerment and seeing the role that you play within this dynamic, within this power struggle. That word just popped into my head, this power struggle. With the Chariot, the imagery on the Chariot is often quite black or white, right? We have the two horses, the two opposing sides, but they're being driven by the one person, which is kind of an indication that you may feel like you see something differently than someone else, but in the long run, you're both going in the same direction, and you are both being controlled by the same source energy, we'll say. So it's almost an example that just popped into mind is that when you're having a disagreement with someone, if you just keep letting your energies rise and rise and rise, and you just keep going back and forth and bickering at each other, you both just get madder and madder, right? Because you're just butting heads. If one party can step back and take a breath and calm down, then the situation can often de-escalate quite quickly. Because, especially, you notice when you calm yourself down, it's so much easier to see the other side. I'm not saying that you have to admit that that other person is correct by any means, but you may be able to see where they're coming from. But you might also just be able to see that when you were angry, you were just fueling their anger just as their anger was fueling yours. So I feel like this coming year is really going to be about you pushing past this. I really want to say judgment. Judgment is the word that I really want to use. It's you being judgmental towards other people, you being judgmental towards yourself. And with this Fool card here, it's interesting because we have this little, his little dog friend, right? And his little dog friend is kind of pushing him, encouraging him to go over. So this is your higher self saying, like, just, let it go, just keep going, go forward, like, don't let that bug you, keep going, right? But I mean, not keep going in the argument, but just keep going in the direction that you feel you want to go in. And if negativity and pessimism and argumentative state is not the state that you want to be in, take a deep breath, calm, relax. You can get through this. This Six of Pentacles, this is really about balance. And I feel like your next year is really going to be focused on this balance, okay? How you can work with yourself to be able to work with others, okay? Let's go with your dragon cards. So we have Aquamarine Dragon from Neptune. Enables you to access your deepest soul wisdom. What was I saying? It's about trusting your higher power. Your higher power here, your deepest soul wisdom. It's guiding you. It's pushing you in the right direction. You just have to be able to trust it and to listen to it. Spirituality and wisdom are available to you. Develop your psychic abilities and receive ineffable soul knowledge. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Don't know what that word is. And then you have Thor's red, black, and gold dragon. Protects you in times of change. a time of rapid transition and transformation. Relax, you are safe. Yeah, that's really what I was sensing right off the bat with the Fool and the Chariot, was that this is going to be a time for change for you. And with the Chariot, again, it's rapid change. It's things moving quickly. And sometimes when we are feeling like things are moving quickly, and perhaps when they're moving a little too quickly for our likings, we can get really uncomfortable. We can get really uneasy with the situation. So Thor's red, black, and gold dragon is just telling you that you are safe, relax, and remember that you are in control. So take control of the situation. If you're feeling uncomfortable, like beyond a safe measure, then make sure you are taking the steps to make sure you're feeling safe in the situation. But growth does happen when we are outside of our comfort zone, okay? If you imagine a pentacle or a pendulum. Do I have a pendulum around me? I do not. How weird is that? So just imagine a pendulum swinging, right? The regular range of motion is what we're living day to day. It's just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But if you give it a little nudge, or if, spirit gives it a little nudge and then it ends up way over here, this is when we're out of our comfort zone, because we're out of this typical back and forth movement. And getting out of your comfort zone, that's when things happen. That's when the energies really start to truly align with moving forward. And sometimes it takes you leaping out of that little comfort zone, that little back and forth movement that you've been doing, It's like when you mindlessly drive to work every day and then you don't even realize, and all of a sudden you're there. Because you can zone out. Your subconscious takes the wheel and it gets you to work, right? You don't even have to focus really anymore. I mean, you should always drive safely. But, we all catch ourselves doing that. Just kind of drifting off into a different world almost. And so, with this time of rapid change and rapid transformation, I do feel like you need to remind yourself that change is good. Change is not bad. We do not need to fear this change. Okay, and then your Earth Magic Oracle cards. We have the card of Blessing. Oops. We have the card of Blessings, and we have the card of Love and Compassion. Interesting balance between those two cards. Blessings are coming, but you do need to remember to approach situations with love, with compassion. We can choose kind of two approaches to life. We can choose to live in fear, or we can choose to live in love. Even when we have moments of fear, we can still choose to love ourselves. We can still choose to be compassionate to ourselves. And if we need to, remove ourselves from that fear. But again, within this transformation, we're talking about, we've got the card of the rainbow here. And when do rainbows appear? Rainbows appear after rain. So sometimes after really bad storms, the rain's coming down and then all of a sudden the sun is coming out. There's this beautiful rainbow reminding us that we don't need to be stuck in that storm. We don't need to see the negatives in that storm, Rain, sometimes it can disrupt our plans. Sometimes it can be annoying. But rain is so wonderful for the planet, Yes, sometimes it causes flooding, but it also causes beautiful flowers, right? It's about the perspective. And I really, again, it's this balance that I'm sensing for you guys. So we have the card of individuality and completion. And this one, with the individuality card coming under the Fool and the Three of Wands here, this is about embracing who you are. It is not until you are able to embrace who you are that you are going to be able to get to the end of this journey. You may not even know what your full potential is in terms of your goals and your dreams, what this completion might look like if you are not in touch with who you are. If you're just getting by day to day just to survive, then I think you really need to focus on this next year, understanding who you are, understanding where you want to go, understanding what your individual dreams and desires are. Because you're never going to feel like you've completed anything if you never set those goals in the first place. Okay? If you're the type of person who gets by day to day, just goes to work, comes home, completes the day, but not actually completing anything beyond that, not completing your goals because you haven't even set any out, this year I really want you to focus on setting goals for yourself. I want you to focus on being compassionate as to who you truly are and what your dreams truly could hold. Okay? So we have the card of making a choice. Yeah. See that path there? That's where that chariot is heading. And at some point, you are going to need to make the decision whether you stay on the path to live in the exact same situation that you have always been in, just going about your 9 to 5 or whatever kind of schedule you have and not really changing anything, or are you going to detour? Are you going to step on a different path, follow this Fool energy and see where it leads you, see what it would be like to actually take the risk to go for your dreams? Perhaps you know what your dreams are, but you're too afraid to give it up. You know, again, it's about comfort. You are comfortable in your situation. You know right now you can pay your bills. You might not be able to do anything more than that, but you can pay your bills and that's comfortable, so you're going to stay here even if it's not what you want going forward. But what the cards want you to know is that the other path sometimes has bigger and better things, but you're never going to know if you don't even try. Okay? Then we have the card of Ride the Wave. Ride the wave with the chariot, very much the same kind of energy, just going after what you truly want, going after your dreams. But again, it comes down to this card right here in the middle of individuality, of even knowing what your dreams are. And then we have two animal cards. You have the deer and the llama. The deer says, trust in the support of the universe. And the llama says, set clear boundaries and enforce them. So again, these both kind of go with what I've been saying. You need to trust yourself. Trust yourself to go for your dreams. Trust that getting out of your comfort zone, while it may be difficult, may be the right thing to do. But with the llama card, this really speaks well with the love and compassion, and also Thor's dragon, just making sure that you can go forward, but exist within these boundaries that make you feel safe in your decisions. So this could be, you know, setting up a savings plan so that you have a little bit of a cushion for when you take that leap to start your own business, or when you take that leap to move across the country. You can move forward in a way that makes you feel comfortable, even if the whole situation is new and uncomfortable. There are ways for you to do it. There's got to be trust for yourself, trust for the universe, trust that you are worthy of your dreams, trust that you are worthy of love and compassion. Okay? So that is your prediction for the next year. I feel like your next year is really going to be full of personal growth, lots of love and compassion for yourself, and allowing yourself to reach for those dreams, reach for the goals. It's time to give yourself permission to go for it. It's no longer sitting back and waiting. It is trusting that you can do this, okay? And I think this all has to start with you admitting to yourself what you even want to do. Do you want to be an author? Do you want to play sports for a living? Do you want to, I don't know, be a teacher? You have to admit to yourself that that's your goal before you can even start down the path to reach it. And if you've been stuck in the same job and it's not getting you anywhere, but you're comfortable there, I want you to start thinking about, what does your dream world look like? If your current situation didn't exist, where would you be? okay? And that will look different for each and every single one of us. For some of us, it might even just be moving cities. Some of us, it might be completely changing the job that we're in. Some of us, this might even be completely changing the way we tell our story and the way that we present ourselves to the world. Your story is yours to control. You can empower yourself to live the life of your dreams. So your overall message for this reading for the next year is just trusting yourself, being compassionate and loving towards yourself, trusting that if you take the steps to reach your goals, then you will be able to get closer each and every single day. There may be setbacks along the way, there may be obstacles that you need to overcome, but you can claim your own personal power. You can take control of your actions and where they will lead you. But this has to be done with love and compassion for yourself. And I feel like for a lot of you, this is going to start with just figuring out what it is your goals and dreams actually are. So many of us live with the goals and dreams that someone else has determined were right for us. You know, my parents have said that I've always wanted to be a firefighter, so I must want to be a firefighter. But do you really want to be a firefighter? It doesn't matter what your dreams are. But I feel like a big part of this message is for you to connect with what those dreams are, okay? It's about trust, setting boundaries so that you feel safe along the journey, and understanding where you want to go so you can pick the paths that will lead you there in the quickest, the most enjoyable sort of way, okay? So that is your reading. If you picked pile number 1 for this year ahead pick a card reading, again, go check out Moon Moth Goddess's channel if you would like to have a more love-focused reading. Love, light, and happiness to all of you. Have a fantastic day. Bye. Hello to all of you who picked pile number 2 with the Snowflake Obsidian. So we have a lot of tarot and oracle cards, but we're going to start with your tarot cards today. So we have the card of Strength. We have the Lovers. We have the Queen of Swords. And we have the 9 of Wands. Okay, I feel like this next year for you guys is really going to be about taking back your personal strength and understanding your abilities, your talents, and really embracing who you are. A big journey of self-discovery, and I'm just looking at this woman on the Strength card. She is just owning her power over that lion, like just holding its mouth, you know, just taking control. So I feel like a lot of people who picked pile number 2, at least with just the tarot cards out so far, maybe women or identify as women, or may just have a lot of feminine energy. This really is kind of about embracing your feminine strengths, embracing what it means to you to be a woman and how powerful that can be. Okay, with this Queen of Swords here, look at her. She is just yielding that sword with utter precision and just going for it. She is not going to let anyone stand in her way. Like, would you get in her way? She is independent. She is direct. She knows no boundaries because she is the queen of her kingdom. She is the queen of the world around her. With this Nine of Wands card here, the Nine of Wands is about courage. It is about a test of fate. So I do feel like whether it's going to be your femininity or your power, something is going to be kind of challenged over this next year. But between the Queen of the Swords and the Strength card, like, you are just going to own it. You're not going to let someone talk down to you. You are not going to let someone else dictate the situation when you know you need to be in control, when you know you have the knowledge or the ability to do something. It's like you're not going to let someone else do something for you when you know you can do it. Okay? Really tapping into your own personal strength. And this might also be, for some of you, this might be tapping into your physical strength. This might be you taking on strength training, endurance training, literally improving your physical strength, whether this is going to the gym and lifting weights, doing some powerlifting even, or even, just maybe even setting yourself a challenge of being able to do push-ups or sit-ups or a pull-up. I really do sense that this has a lot to do with the physical body. It's interesting with this Lovers card here. We have the one woman who's naked, and we have the one woman who's in a dress. And it's almost like this year is really going to be you coming into your own, whether you are naked and feeling empowered for just who you are. And I don't even mean like literally naked, but expressing yourself, showing your ideas to the world, being more vulnerable. Or, you could be in your favorite dress feeling like amazing, which could also translate to being, if you've had time to really study and put together a presentation, it's that kind of thing, like whether you are vulnerable or whether you are in control of the situation, you're going to be coming into and embracing your own personal power so that those kind of situations don't throw you off so much, so that you're not so nervous. It's also a lot of courage that I'm seeing that you'll be building over this next year. Let's go with your animal cards first. We have a swan. Demonstrates grace and majesty. Yes. So I'm sure many of us are familiar with the story of the ugly duckling. This little baby bird who is called ugly because they don't look like the rest of the ducklings. And then it turns out that they're actually a swan, and they grow up to be this beautiful, amazing swan. And I feel like no matter what phase of life you're in, whatever transition you're in, it is about embracing that majesty that we all have within us. Another thing that really has come to mind for me, oh, look at this, I didn't even realize this, the tiger, accept your magnificence. Another thing that just came to me is the triple moon, or the triple goddess, the maid, mother, and the crone. And it's almost like no matter what phase of life you're in, you are already all three. The maiden is very youthful energy, the mother is very motherly energy, and the crone really represents wisdom. But no matter what stage of life you're in, you can still embrace all of that energy. And even your different situations will allow you to tap into that different energy, right? For example, for me, when I'm with my kids, totally in that mother energy. But at the same time, I'm a homeschooling mom, and I love to share wisdom. We don't school with a traditional curriculum. We share knowledge and how to learn, and I feel like that is very crone energy. They don't just give you the information, they teach you how to learn. But then, there are days when I'm out with my girlfriends and we're just playing very maiden, fun-loving, free-spirited energy. You know, the weight of the world is not on our back anymore. Yeah, we have to go home and make dinner, but right now we're not focusing on that. We're focusing on ourselves and just expressing who we are. So no matter what stage of life you're in, whether you are, like this Lover's card, whether you are in a very vulnerable state or you're feeling put together and prepared and ready to go, you're still the same person. Deep down inside, you still have this energy, and you can embody whoever you choose to be. So like this coming year, I do feel like it is going to be you working on this self-confidence. And this self-confidence is really going to help you transform. Okay? Let's go with your dragon cards. So we have the royal blue and gold dragon. Strengthens you to stand in your power with wisdom. Awaken to your own majesty. Wear your cloak of power with pride. Well, we'll put both of those majestic animals side by side. And then your second one, silver lunar dragon, bathes you with divine feminine light. Come into balance and practice peace, harmony, and cooperation. Expand your casual chakra. Yeah, a lot of personal empowerment and a lot of feminine energy here. Now, again, you don't need to identify as a female to have feminine energy, but this year may be a lot of work about tapping into your divine feminine, connecting with your divine feminine. The divine feminine is very creative. If you're finding like you've been really stagnant in terms of imagination, in terms of your ideas, in terms of, you know, seeing the potential in things, it may be time to connect with your divine feminine, reconnect with that inspiration that comes from deep down within. Okay? Let's go with your earth magic cards. With the card of rain, which is purification, and the lotus flower, unfoldment. Both heavily on the water energy here. With the rain, with the purification, it is letting go of things that are no longer serving you, letting go of the idea that being this naked woman, this vulnerable person, is a bad thing. Letting go of the judgment upon yourself, letting go of the judgment upon your physical body. There is so much that we tell ourselves that brings us down every single day. We are our own worst critics. And if we can start to change the dialogue, the story that we tell ourselves in our head, it's amazing. Like, you don't even need to change anything about your physical appearance to feel better about yourself. It's the dialogue that you have in your head, right? You know how some days you can just feel so amazing, so beautiful, and then other days you're like, oh, I'm a troll, like I'm an ogre, I look terrible. Did anything about your physical body actually change? Maybe you were a little bloated, maybe you broke out and you had some acne, but does that really change your physical appearance? Not really. It is a tiny little detail that most people probably don't even notice. But all of a sudden you see yourself as ugly because of it. But it doesn't really change who you are. But what has changed is the story that you're telling yourself in your head. So this coming year, I really want you to focus on what story you are telling yourself. If you are constantly putting yourself down, if you're constantly telling yourself that you are this ugly duckling, then I want you to focus on your strengths, on your courage. I want you to focus on, you know, you've got so much amazing, powerful energy here between the majesty of the tiger, the strength card, the magnificence of the tiger, the strength card, the majesty of the swan, the majesty of this dragon, the Queen of Swords, a very powerful, powerful woman. You've got so much going for you, and yet you don't see any of it. So many of you, I feel like Like, it's weird. Right now, I feel like someone's crying. And I'm actually getting teary-eyed because of it. There's a lovely car alarm that's been going off. So let me have some water and we'll be back. I feel like so many of you don't own your personal power. But this year is your year. This year is for you to connect with you. This year is for you to embrace yourself. Give yourself a hug. Tell yourself every morning how amazing you are. Okay, so next we're going to look at your numerology cards. So you have the card of karmic completion and domestic harmony. Okay, so the first thing that came to my head there is that if you are in an abusive relationship, if this negative opinion that you have about yourself is because someone is being abusive, verbally, physically, I want you to work on your priority being safe. Whether this is filing a restraining order against someone, whether this is pressing charges against someone, going to a shelter, moving in with friends, moving somewhere else just to be safe. Your home life needs to feel safe. Okay? So that is the first thing. And that may be what's holding back a lot of you is feeling oppressed and suppressed by someone else. Okay? With this karmic completion card, I feel like you tapping into your personal strength, you tapping into who you are, will break the karmic cycle that you may feel like you've been stuck in. Especially if you're telling yourself like, well, my mom was in a crappy relationship, now I'm in a crappy relationship. We're always, it's just a cycle that we're going to be in. You can break that cycle. You can end that cycle. Focus on your personal strength, and owning your power. You can set yourself free from that oppression. Okay? So, if you're watching this and you need help, please, I hope you're able to find it. I mean, people are all over the world. I don't even know what kind of numbers or information I could link down below, but I hope you are able to find a safe place, a sanctuary for yourself, okay? But if you are in a safe place, this domestic harmony card could be coming to terms, could be embracing just your role in your family, in your home life. This could even be, you don't always need to feel like you're doing everything around the house. You don't need to feel like you are not in control of your finances, or your home life. This is, again, it's about personal strength and tapping into that. So your next two cards, Magical Map Shifter and Strength. It's a lot of strength, a lot of discovering who you are, a lot of going out on a limb and just trusting yourself, trusting your mind, your body, your spirit, trusting the systems that you have put in place for your life. With this magical map shifter, again, it's taking off the blindfold and seeing all of the possibilities that are available to you, taking off the blindfold and seeing beyond your current reality, seeing past the judgment. I feel like the blindfold in this magical map shifter card here, I feel this blindfold is your own personal judgment towards yourself. And so it is time to take off that blindfold and be able to see yourself for who you really are. It's about seeing yourself through a loving perspective. What do those people who love you think of you? I'm sure they'll tell you that you're beautiful, that you're caring, that you're compassionate, that you are amazing, that you, like, there's so many things. Go ask your best friend, go ask your mom, go ask someone that you love and cherish to truly describe who you are. And then analyze that and see if that's how you see yourself. Do you see yourself as all of the things that your loved ones tell you you are? I've even seen things on Facebook like say one word that describes me. And I mean, unless someone's a really big asshole, they're not going to say something negative. They're usually going to tell you something positive. And if someone says like, oh, you're a big jerk or whatever, then they need to be removed. You do not need that type of energy in your life. And if you do find that you're surrounded by people who are just constantly bringing you down, constantly insulting you, then it's time to shift your environment so that you can feel safe and you can feel safe, confident, secure. You can feel like you can be yourself. It's almost like with this Lovers card, it's like, do you pick the person who only sees you at your best, or and loves you only at your best, or do you pick the person who loves you even when you are the most vulnerable, even when you're the most, say, run down? And that's kind of like you need to have the strength, the courage to leave the people that are bringing you down, that are making you feel trapped and feeling like you don't have this kind of energy. If people in your life are bringing you down and telling you that you're not good enough, you're not strong enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not anything, then we need to find a way to escape that atmosphere. And finding the strength just to do that can be difficult. I fully understand that. But I feel like when you are in this kind of energy where you can evolve and you can unfold and blossom like this lotus flower, then you're really going to be able to transform and harness your own personal power. And ultimately, I feel like that is what your next year is going to be about, is really just coming into your own, okay? It's also interesting because you picked the snowflake obsidian, and obsidian is a stone for protection. So just make sure that you are protecting your energies, making sure you're in a safe environment to go through this transition, this, I almost said awakening there. Perhaps it is an awakening for a lot of you. This shift, this harmony that I'm feeling is going to be coming into your life by you embracing you, ultimately, okay? So that is your message if you picked pile number 2 for this year ahead pick a card reading. Don't forget to head over to Moon Moth Goddess's channel if you want a more love-based reading. Love, light, and it's downstairs. Love, light, and happiness to all of you. Have a fantastic day. Bye, guys. Hello to all of you who picked pile number 3 with the Adventuring. So we have all sorts of tarot and oracle cards. Just got a sneak peek of what some of them are. So we're going to start with your tarot cards. And you have the Hanged Man, the Prince of Pentacles, the Princess of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, this year is transformative energy for you, but it only will be if you can change your perspective on something and if you can look at something differently. We have the Hanged Man here, which is, you know, it's hanging around and observing the situation and realizing that you need to see the broader perspective. You can't just look always in one direction and always be heading there. You need to see everything that's around you. And it's about taking the time to just hang around and observe. But the Wheel of Fortune is understanding that when you spin the wheel, different things are going to happen, right? And when you spin that wheel, different outcomes may land, right? But so while we can't always control every single thing that happens to us, we can control certain things. We can control when we choose to spin the wheel. We can control our response to what the wheel lands on. We can control how we move forward. And again, it's about observing the bigger picture. The Wheel of Fortune also can indicate the Wheel of the Year. So very timely with the reading that we're doing for a year ahead. So this is saying, throughout the year, as we spin that wheel, different things are going to happen depending on the time of year. So this might be multiple challenges, multiple things happening, but also multiple positive things happening, multiple opportunities coming about, okay? But again, it's all about how you see it. And sometimes those negative things can lead to positive results, right? So don't always get hung up on what you see right before you, because there might be something bigger and better out of a small little incident, okay? And then you have the Prince of Pentacles and the Princess of Swords. So this is actually very interesting energy here, because the Prince of Pentacles here, this is about manifestation. But then we have the Princess of Swords, and she's all about action. You see her, she's got her sword, she's ready to go into combat. Whereas the Prince of Pentacles is more mental. And I feel like this energy is kind of this balance that you need to step into, that we need to concentrate on. Again, with the Hanged Man, I feel like maybe you've been really focused on the manifestation, or maybe you've been really focused on the action. It's almost like there's this imbalance between your divine feminine and your divine masculine. One being like the creative process, and one being the intellectual side, the steps that you need to take. But you can't just be one or the other. They have to work together. They have to coincide. They have to exist together to truly move forward. You can't just have all of the ideas, but no practical plan as to how to implement them. But you also can't have all the knowledge about how to implement ideas and no ideas. It's creating this balance between the two. I want to pull your numerology cards. So we have the card of leadership and perseverance. Okay, yeah, you guys are natural born leaders, and you do have the capabilities to take control of your circumstances, take control of the environment around you, and really, when this Wheel of Fortune, no matter what it lands on, you have the capability to move forward. You have the capability to lead in that situation. But will you be looking in the right direction when those things happen? If you are, again, it's this balance between like the creative energy and the action energy. So if you are feeling like, you're always in, not even so much if you're always in a certain kind of energy, but if you're always feeling like pulled in opposite directions, maybe it's you're focusing on one extreme or the other, and then while you can take the opposite action, you're just existing in the complete opposite energy, so it's very draining for you. And then with this perseverance card, again, this is long term. So I feel like the cards are really telling us that it's not about short, quick actions, right? It is about long term. And in order to really be successful long term, it's about finding this balance between, the masculine, the feminine, between the creative and the intellectual, the positive, the negative, it is really kind of almost staying neutral so that when you are called to act in one direction or the other, it's not such a leap, right? If you find yourself really focused on the action, really kind of burning out on just taking all the action and feeling like, oh, I never have time to create, then you need to take the steps to lighten your workload, whether it's hiring help, whether it is cutting out a project that doesn't need to be done right now, whether it is taking some time off, taking a long weekend so that you can focus and recharge and come back more towards center. So we have the bear, which is use power with wisdom. We have the ladybird, which is accept happiness and good fortune. And then we have the bat, which is see through illusions into truth. And even that is a very interesting balance. We've got the bear with the power and the wisdom. We've got the ladybird with the happiness and good fortune. We've got the bat with seeing through illusions and into truth. So it's almost like, you could have this power of the bear, this very strong, capable, powerful bear, or this very fragile little ladybird. They're not actually very fragile, like those shells are actually, or their shells, their exoskeleton is actually quite sturdy. And then we've got this bat who can fly up and see broader. I mean, they don't even really see, they use their echolocation, right? So it's a different perspective. Each of these creatures would have a different perspective on the exact same situation just because of what they physically are, you know? A bear would see a situation from a very powerful standpoint. A ladybird, a little ladybug would see it from, like this, you would see like this massive human being to them. And then a bat would see from like way up above, and you're just kind of a shape in their echolocation. So these three cards really speak well with the Hanged Man. It's about if you could look at yourself from an outside perspective, if you look at yourself from the perspective of the bear versus the ladybird versus the bat, how would all those different things see your current situation, and what kind of advice could they give you? Okay, let's go on to your dragon. Oh, you only have one dragon. Okay, so we have the Omega Dragon. Harness the divine feminine power of creation. Intention, hold your vision, birth into higher consciousness. Okay, so that's interesting because earlier I was talking about the difference between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So it's almost like, again, I don't know which one it is, whether you need to focus on your divine feminine like this card suggests, or if you have been harnessing this power and we need to focus beyond the divine feminine. Either way, both cards, it's talking about holding your vision, birth a higher consciousness, which is kind of, it's changing your perspective again. So I feel like this year is really going to be trying for you. Just creating this balance. I'm feeling like you guys may feel like you're pulled in all directions and you don't know where to go. And it's really going to be trusting your higher self, trusting that voice that's kind of outside of you, something beyond your ego. Because your ego will give you very selfish advice that will keep you safe. Your ego doesn't want you to, it wants to stay safe. Your ego really focuses on fear in order to kind of control you and keep you in this comfort zone. And it's like the ego is telling you not to spin that wheel. It's telling you not to spin this wheel of fortune because you know what, you're comfortable where you are, you're good, like we've got this. But if you really want something more, you're going to have to test the waters. You're really going to have to expand beyond what you know now. Let me have the card of sad embrace and listening. Okay. Yeah, so with this sad embrace, it's almost like you need to say goodbye to a part of yourself. And it might be that ego-centered part of you that is not letting you move forward. you need to almost admit to yourself that you have been harnessing. It's almost like you need to admit to yourself that this energy is out of balance and that you've been feeling out of balance. It's sometimes very hard to admit to ourselves that something is wrong. Our friends and our family and our loved ones may see signs of depression or hurt, anger within us before we see it in ourselves. And sometimes we have to sit with ourselves and we have to listen to ourselves to be able to see that changes need to be made. But we can persevere through this. We can persevere through this experience, through this year, and really come out on the other side with more knowledge, more confidence, more strength. Perhaps even this year with this leadership card, maybe this year is you stepping into a role of leadership and understanding your capabilities as someone more influential than what you see yourself as now. Okay? And then we have the cards of Lake, which is stillness, and Whale, which is breach. This Lake card, this stillness, really speaks with this listening and this sad embrace. Again, in order to grow as a human being, sometimes we need to admit to ourselves that we are out of balance, that our divine masculine and our divine feminine are out of whack, or maybe they're even butting heads. And so it's sometimes with sadness and fear and grief that we let go of the version of ourselves that we have come to understand and break through. We breach the surface of the water into something else. But again, here we've got this calm lake, this calm surface, and we might not even see that whale coming to the surface. Another example would be, when you start crying out of nowhere, you're like, you're just experiencing something, and then all of a sudden, like, the tears are coming, and you're like, I don't know why I'm crying. Like that kind of emotional, I don't want to say outburst, that kind of emotional release is kind of like this whale breaching the surface. It is something coming to the surface that needs to come up, that needs to breathe, that needs to be shown. But sometimes we can't see what needs to come to the surface until we really learned to calm the mind, to live in a place of more still, more calm. Again, it's reflecting upon this listening to yourself, being honest and truthful with yourself, again with this Hanged Man. So I feel like this year for you, pile number 3, is really going to be about you listening to yourself, finding balance within yourself, and not doing it from a place of judgment. Again, focus on these animals. What would the different perspectives be on your situation? Your perspective on the situation. What would it look like to others? How would others interpret what you're going through? And how can that information be applied to your own life? Okay? So that is your message if you picked pile number 3 for this year ahead pick a card reading. If you want a more love-centered reading, don't forget to check out Moon Moth Goddess's channel and her love version of this year ahead reading. Love, light, and happiness to all of you. Have a fantastic day. Bye, guys. Okay, and then the last but not least pile is pile 4 with the black tourmaline. So we have a combination of oracle and tarot cards here. We're going to start with your tarot cards. You have the 3 of Pentacles, the 6 of Swords, the Prince of Cups, and the Five of Swords. Okay. Okay, so I'm actually just going to adjust the order of these just for a moment, just because I think it helps to clarify the story that the cards are telling us. So these first two cards here, we've got the Three of Pentacles, and the Three of Pentacles is the apprenticeship card. It is about learning and growing and really working on physical skills. So this, again, it's the apprenticeship card, so this could be you going to school, this could be you doing an apprenticeship, a trade, taking a class, just working to improve your skill set. And this could be, you know, physical skills like learning to weld, but it could also be working on skills that aren't seen as tangible. So things like working on your charisma, working on your public speaking, working on your confidence. It's working together, and it's working with a team. So this isn't something that you're doing alone. This is, you know, taking a class from someone, getting a mentorship, getting coaching, or going to school. It is more than just you sitting and practicing something over and over again in your home, for example. And then we have the Prince of Cups here. And the Prince of Cups is a creative opportunity. We have the prince here who has led his horse to water, and they're having a drink. He's got his cup, he has filled it, and he sees that opportunity and he's harnessing that opportunity. So with this progression here, I feel like it's learning the skills, it's learning how to navigate your way towards the water, and then harnessing that knowledge, harnessing that skill set to be able to take it to the next level. And then the next part of this is that we have the two swords. We have the Five of Swords and we have the Six of Swords. The Five of Swords really is a card about conflict. It is a card about fighting for what you know is right, fighting for yourself, fighting for your friendships, for your job. It could also signify betrayal and something that you have to overcome. But we have the progression to the Six of Swords, and the Six of Swords is transition. I feel like a lot of you are actually in the fighting stage of this transition already, and a lot of the next year is going to be coming out of this fighting stage and into the transition. It's going to be kind of the, you know, it's kind of like a pause. You're probably going to feel very stagnant. This next year, you're going to want things to go faster than what they are. And I feel like that is a lot where this Three of Pentacles and the Page of Cups is coming in. So you feel like you're going to be fighting and fighting for whatever it is. Whether this is fighting for your rights, fighting for you know, maybe it's even fighting to go back to school, working really hard. It doesn't have to be like a physical altercation. It could be you working really hard at something, training really hard to be able to get to the next step. So it could, in a way, be interlaced with this Three of Pentacles. But I feel like the Three of Pentacles has a much more calm energy than the Five of Swords has. The Five of Swords is very kind of aggressive energy. Not necessarily against someone, but it's almost like you feel the need to satisfy this. You feel the need to push past this, the need to prove yourself in this Five of Swords energy. But again, I feel like a lot of you are in this energy, and the next phase is going to be the Six of Swords, where you're transitioning out. The typical Rider-Waite depiction of the Six of Swords is on a boat, and they're in rough waters, but you can see the calm seas ahead. And that is where you are going. So with this card, it's almost like you have to get through this gate. Right now, we are fighting with this Five of Swords, and we can see that gate, but we just have to keep going, keep pushing to get through that gate. Again, this Three of Pentacles could be wrapped up in the Five of Swords. But it could also be the knowledge and the skill set that you need to get to this next transition phase. I feel like the Prince of Cups is kind of on the other side of the gate. That water hole that he's found is on the other side of the gate. And so this next year is going to be you really feeling like you have to fight for your dreams, fight for what it is that you want. But you're going to see the transition into the other side of the fight before the year is out. Okay? Let's go with your Earth Magic cards. We have Tsunami Wake Up Call, which I'm going to put under the Five of Swords because I feel like that's what that is. And then we have the Spring Equinox, which is Rebirth. And I'm putting that under the Six because I feel like that tells a very similar story. This Five of Swords, it's waking you up. And again, with this energy here, it's like something is going to happen. And again, I feel like it's at the beginning of this next year. And it's going to be waking you up to what you need to do to get past this fight, past this stagnation. And when you can wake up to this idea, when you can get past the aggression, it's almost like you need to get past the judgment that you're putting on yourself to be able to see the opportunities that are being presented to you. And with this removal of judgment, with this change of perspective to seeing that this skill set, this opportunity is available to you, this knowledge, this learning is available, it's going to help you to reach into this Six of Swords and rebirth energy. And again, I do feel like a lot of the year is going to be spent in this transition, in this shift, in this rebirth. Okay? Okay, numerology it is because you jumped right out. Physical activity and creativity. Okay, with the physical activity, it's interesting because the Five of Swords, again, in a Rider-Waite deck, is often seen as a sword fight. So that really correlates with this physical activity. So to move forward, it may be that you need to learn, it might be a physical skill that you will be learning. This could also be that it is time to get up and move. Like I said with the Page of Cups, he has walked to find this watering hole. He knew where he had to go, so he got up and he did it. So it's about, before I mentioned stagnation, so it's about getting yourself physically up and moving and doing the things you need to do physically to get out of this stagnation. This could be, getting out and handing out your resume to different businesses. It could be going and touring different schools. It's not even physical activity in terms of, like working out or exercising or anything like that. It is taking the physical actions that you need to get out of this period where you're feeling like you need to fight. Physical action is going to be needed to transition to this next phase. And with the card of creativity, this is telling me that you may need to look at different ways to move into this energy. You might have a path that you thought you were going to take and you're just staying on that path and you're fighting for that path and it's leading you nowhere. So with the card of creativity, it might mean you have to choose a different path, or maybe it means you have to just get off the path in general and go down the river or go across the field. You may need to get creative with what you are doing in order to reach this energy. Okay, let's do your dragon cards. So you have Kuan Yin's pink dragon, brings firm love that resets your karmic balance. See all your cords dissolved by transcendent love. Enjoy your freedom. Look at the divine around you. That's interesting because it's enjoy your freedom, look at the divine around you. And what was I saying with the creativity and having to go off the path? The freedom of this Six of Swords might be that to get into this area, you don't even have to actually go through this gate. There's other ways in if you're creative enough and if you can see the freedom in front of you. And then you have the golden Atlantean dragon. Helps you remember the wisdom of golden Atlantis. Awaken. Bring back your knowledge, gifts, and talents. Reclaim your mastery. Mastery really goes with this apprenticeship card, but the awakening also goes with this rebirth card. So I really do feel like increasing your knowledge, being willing to put in the effort to learn what you know will help you grow and proceed in whatever path you're going down, whatever journey your life is taking you. Never stop learning. Learning and growing in terms of your talents and your knowledge is going to be a very huge part of this coming year for you. Okay? And then we have Magic Stream and Encouragement. And I like that card because it is the two giraffes side by side, right? And originally I said here, this isn't a card about learning by yourself. This isn't doing it by yourself. This is reaching out to others. This is taking classes, getting a mentorship, coaching, something like that. And with this encouragement card, I do feel like you need this person to almost be your cheerleader along the way to encourage you to keep going. It's not that you don't have the inspiration and the motivation to do it yourself, but this encouragement from this outside source will really help you tap into your personal strength, especially when you're feeling beaten down. With this Magic Stream, I kind of giggled when I pulled it out because I said sometimes you might need to get into the stream, right? Get into the river. It's about going with the flow. If you feel the pull to get off the path, then follow that. Go into that flow state. If you feel just encouraged and empowered to just keep going in a certain direction, follow that. Follow your intuition. Follow where you're being drawn to go. Okay? And then you've got the shark. Lead as a powerful, peaceful warrior. But again, the shark, it's all about going with the currents, going with the flow. And then we have the eagle. Seize opportunities courageously. Yeah. The eagle and the shark both speaking very well together because it's like, the shark is just going with the current, and the eagle can see the bigger picture. He can see where the rivers are going because he can fly so high above. So it's almost like this mentor that I'm sensing that I don't even know if you've met them yet. This might be someone that you need to meet in this next year. But it's like this person will help you see the bigger picture as to where you're going. Maybe they will help you put the puzzle pieces together as to how you can proceed with your dreams. If you're wanting to succeed at business, maybe you hire a business coach, and this person is able to see what will connect the dots between your different ideas and help lead you to success. Perhaps they could help you establish, branding or the knowledge that you need. Like maybe you have this wonderful business idea, but you don't actually have the business education. Maybe you don't have, you need a lawyer to help you with setting up a corporation and all the ins and outs of actually starting a business. So this coming year, like if someone is willing to help you, if someone is willing to guide you, to take you on as a mentee, like don't hesitate. If you can afford it, if you can make it work, then I highly encourage you to take the steps to join forces with those who are willing to help you and willing to just help you along this journey. This could even be with this wake-up call. I feel like this could be meeting someone. It might not even be a coach or a mentor, but it might be someone who just their presence or their information just sparks ideas in your heads and really inspires you to go after your dream, really inspires you. Perhaps it even, with this creativity card, perhaps this even will help bring ideas into your mind as to how you can move forward. It might even bring more motivation to continue with this learning. But yeah, and then we have the dragons. This one, the Golden Atlantean Dragon. Helps you remember the wisdom of Golden Atlantis. This is about, it's about waking up to knowledge. So I feel like this card really speaks with the rebirth, but it's also with the eagle. It's like, because dragons can fly as well, so I'm, linking the two together. And it's like these two will help you see the opportunities. They will help you see the bigger picture. And this bigger picture will allow you to dream even bigger than you ever thought possible. Your dream may be like this. Like your dream may fit into this neat little package. But what this dragon and the eagle is showing you is that all of these possibilities out here, like we exist in our own little universe, and yet there is so much outside of our universe that we don't even understand. We don't even begin to conceptualize the grandeur of what is possible out in the universe, right? Heck, even within our own planet, like the depths of our seas, the Greenland shark is a very deep sea shark. And it's like, that shark, I think the oldest one is almost 500 years old. So the knowledge that shark has of the underwater world, and it's like there's so much that we have to learn about our own planets, and in comparison, like our own selves, right? And that's ultimately what I'm feeling like this year is going to be a lot of growth for your skill set, for your mind, but also just for you. You're going to be able to open the doors to opportunities you never thought possible, not only because you should be working on these skill sets, but because you're going to be working on yourself as well, and therefore your inner guidance, your subconscious, your higher self will show you and guide you to things that you never even knew were possible for you to achieve. So I think like your biggest message, pile number 4 here, is it's to go with the flow. Trust your instincts. Trust that you know what you need to do. So when you feel inspired, when you feel motivated, don't let procrastination steal that from you, okay? You are not a procrastinator, but you may procrastinate. So take that power back and do what you need to do when you feel inspired, when you feel motivated. Make sure you are taking the aligned action, because I really feel it's really going to help you get through this period where you just feel like you're having to fight for everything, okay? And again, you may need to fight the urge to procrastinate, to do something else, to do something easy in the meantime. But if you can push through, if you can go with the flow, follow that stream, and really embrace knowledge, I feel like knowledge and learning is going to be such a big part of your year, okay? So that is your message. If you picked pile number 4 for this year ahead pick a card reading. Again, if you want a more love specific reading, head on over to Moon Moth Goddess's channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Love, light, and happiness to all of you. Have a fantastic day. Bye, guys.